Hello once again, our most valued student. My name is Confident and welcome to the continuation of our revision session, and this is for you guys as you prepare for your June and November exams. Grade 10 is the grade that I'm focusing on, and these are the topics that you need to know, especially for June. So if this is you and you're preparing for your June exams, but also it will be relevant for November, of course, this is what you need to go through. So let's look at this part of topic number 4, trig. And as I said, I've done this part 1 of this lesson already, where I introduced this particular diagram here. And if you did not follow up, I will encourage you to go through the first lesson, because it is the foundation. Whatever we'll be doing here will be based on what we did in this particular lesson that we did previously, and all the questions that are coming in are going to be much simpler if you can follow that path. Now let's look at the first one. There is question 1. It says if point PXY is a point on a Cartesian plane such that OP is called R units, determine sine theta over cos theta. This is 3 marks. So as I say, look at it. They give you already here. They are giving you X, Y, and R, and this is theta. And they want you to find sine theta. You come back to the what you call it, the trig ratios. Yes, I want the trig ratios part. And we said, what are the trig ratios? Trig ratios: sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Remember SOHCAHTOA. This word is very important for you to know. Let me write it again. It's SOHCAHTOA, and I used it at the bottom here to say these are called trig ratios. Sine theta is opposite of hypotenuse, but you also need to know, when you're talking about SOHCAHTOA, what is opposite. Opposite is represented by Y, hypotenuse by R, adjacent by X. So you must know that if I say O, opposite, it means I'm talking about Y. If I say adjacent, I'm talking about X. And if I say hypotenuse, I'm talking about what? R. Once you know this, then you don't have a problem. This question then becomes easier to answer. So now, if they give you sine, here you remind yourself to say sin theta is equal to opposite, which is Y over R, and then cos theta is equal to adjacent, which is X over R. And then now they're saying what? Cos theta over sine theta, meaning you can, it's better to write it like this: cos theta, actually it's sine first, since they are dividing. Remember, it's sine theta divided by cos theta. So what you're going to say is sine, because they are fractions, theta divided by cos theta. That's the best way to write it. Then sine theta is Y over R divided by X over R. See that? And then you say Y over R times. Remember, when you say times, from division to multiplication, you flip this side. You invert. R goes to the top and X goes to the bottom, just after the division line. Okay, then at that moment you see R will cancel and your answer will be Y over X. Are you with me? So this, if you know it well, this is same as tan theta. Sine theta over cos theta is same as saying tan theta. Why am I saying that? What is tan? Remember, tan theta in terms of SOHCAHTOA is Y over X. That's tan theta. And then look at the answer that we got. We also get Y over X, because it's what? It's opposite, which is Y, over adjacent, which is A. SOHCAHTOA. Alright. But that is that. That was 3 marks, guys. You need to know that. As I say, the foundation I laid gives me the easier way to solve this. Look at this one. In the diagram below, point P 4, 3, there is point P. So the moment they give you P and they say it's 4, 3, always know what is 4 and what is 3. Remember, coordinates are X and Y. So 4, meaning already X here is equal to what? 4. And Y is equal to what? 3. And they are all positive because it's quadrant number 1. So this is your quadrant 1. That is your quadrant 2, this is your quadrant 3 and that is your quadrant 4, and everything in quadrant 1 is positive, and then is given, and they are telling you between 0 and 90 degrees, which is correct because this is 0 and this is 90 degrees, remember. Then answer the following questions without the use of a calculator. They want you to answer that. Now calculate the length of OP. O meaning from this distance, the one this distance. And remember, you remind yourself, it's like a triangle. And this is a 90 degrees triangle. And you use the theorem of Pythagoras. Remember, this is your y because it's along the y-axis. And this is your x. It's along the what? The x-axis. And you know the formula? I told you r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. Y, that's your OP. OP is this distance r. And if you go back to the previous formula, the previous foundation I was laying, this is what I was talking about there. We're in the first quadrant and you said r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. Alright, so now if you go back to that lesson, you then ask yourself, what is r squared, which is in this case OP, because we're looking for OP squared, is equal to x squared is 4 squared, always put it in brackets, plus 3 squared. I'm saying this because sometimes if there is a negative sign, some of you make an error. So put it in brackets. OP squared is equal to 4 squared. You can actually use a calculator straight away here. You don't need to simplify that, which is 4 squared plus 3 squared. And here, I think it will be 25. You see? So this is 25. Now, how do you find OP? You square root and you square root. Now, when you square root, it's okay to say plus or minus always. Equal to plus or minus. Let me do that here. OP is equal to plus or minus square root of 25. Very important. Then what is OP? OP is equal to plus or minus 5. But you have to choose one answer. R, remember, R is always what? Always positive. R is always positive. So what is the answer? OP is equal to 5 units. That is it. Then they give you 3 marks. Think of that. Just using the theorem of Pythagoras. And then calculate the value of sin theta. Now you ask yourself, sin theta. Remember, when we talk about sin theta, we are saying here, sin theta in terms of SOHCAHTOA, that is so, is opposite over hypotenuse. And I told you, opposite you need to know it's y over hypotenuse is r. So which is equal to, what is your y? You come back to the previous part. Our y was 3, it is, which is 3 over, and then our r became 5. Then that is the answer there. Okay, so it becomes simple 3 over 5. Alright. Then the next one is what? What is cos theta? It's 1 mark, guys. This becomes 1 mark. And it's worth it. What about cos theta? Cos theta becomes, again, car. Remember, cos is car. So it's what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. And then adjacent is x over hypotenuse is r. What is x over r? X we said was 4 and r is 5. So it becomes 4 over 5. And then last one, they are saying sine squared theta plus cos squared theta. So if you say sine squared theta plus cos squared theta, what you need to do then is to come here and say, what is sine squared? Remember, the squared, you can remove this part here. That square there, that's the best thing I'll advise you. And then you write it like this. You put the square outside and you write it like this and put the square outside. Meaning, you are going to say sine, remember that it is 3 over 4, but with the squared, right? What's the next one? Plus cos, 3 over 5. Why am I saying over 4 here? It's 3 over 5. And what about cos? It's 4 over 5 again squared. And then if you use a calculator to solve this, and then let's check with the calculator what it gives us. So we have 3 over 5 squared plus, and then we have 4 over 5 squared, and I get a 1. See, the answer that gives me 1. You'll learn later actually that sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is an identity that gives a 1. So guys, this is how you approach these kind of questions. All right, let's continue. As I'm saying, I'm repeating this so that it can be drilled in your mind to see different ways they can always bring this question, but you know there is no way I'm going to miss out on this one. Look at this in the diagram below. A 5, 12. A is these are the coordinates, and I said when they give it to you, 5 belongs to x, and then what? 12 belongs to y. This is what you must always remember. And then use the diagram to answer the following questions. Determine the value of r. Already we've said r squared is equal to what? X squared plus y squared. See, this time they made it what? 2 marks. So it's Pythagoras theorem, which is 5 squared plus 12 squared, which is r squared. So r squared is equal to what? And then you get to find the answer there of 5 squared, put brackets of course, plus 12 squared. It's 169. And then you square root, and then you square root. It's good to say plus or minus, but you know r is always positive, therefore r is plus or minus 13. But you know therefore r, since it's always positive, r is 13. You can write even 13 units. Don't leave it as plus or minus. R is always positive, is 13. Then the next one is calculate the value of sine theta and cot theta. Sin theta is just a repetition here. Do you see that? Sin theta is y over what? Over r, which is equal to, what is your y? The y value that they gave me was 12, and the r value is 13. That's it. 12 over 13. That's the first one. Cot. Now remember, cot is linked to what? Cot is linked to 10. 10 theta. So what is 10 theta? 10 theta is equal to, remember, it's SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. So 10 is opposite over adjacent, which is equal to opposite represented by y. Adjacent is represented by what? By x. Once you remember that, then you're good to go. Then cot is the inverse. You invert 10. So meaning x goes to the top, y goes to the bottom. So it becomes x over y. Then what is x? X become what? If it go back to x is 5 and y is 12. So this becomes 5 over 12. Alright, so this is how you solve these questions, guys. And then it says here, look at this. Prove that sin theta dot cot theta dot sec theta is equal to 1. We know sin theta we just did. Sin theta is that, which is 12 over 13. Dot means times. Cot theta we just did cot theta, which is 5 over 12 times sec. Now sec is linked to what? Sec is linked to cos theta. You must know cosec is sine, cot is tan, sec is a reciprocal of what? Of sec. So remember that. Can I remind you again? Cosec theta is a reciprocal, so it's 1 over sine theta. Alright, sec, we already said it is a reciprocal of 1 over cos theta, and cot is 1 over tan theta. So now, like with this, if then you are saying here sec theta, I need to know cos. Cos is what? Ka. Alright, it's a over what? H. A over hypotenuse, and a is x over hypotenuse is what? Is r. So what about if a is x over r That now means sec theta is equal to r over x. Remember, this goes to the top, this goes to the bottom. And r, what was r? It was 13. And what was x? Let's check x. X was 5. 13 over 5. So here you just say sec times 13 over 5. Let's multiply this and see if it gives us a 1. So the 13 there goes, 5 there goes, and the 12 there goes. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1 over 1, which is equal to a 1. Then it proves. Are you seeing that, guys? That's how you get the answers to these questions. As I said, I'm bringing as much as different approaches that they've been bringing throughout the exams. Look at this one. Make use of the diagram below to answer the questions without the use of a calculator. Can you try it? Can you try this on your own? Just what you do, you pause this video. Now, since I've tried to give enough foundation, pause this video. Ask yourself, if this was now the exam, can I answer this? Alright, just pause the video and try it out. Then after that, compare your answers with my answers. Alright, so there is the question. So what you're given, what? Look at it. As I told you, whenever you are measuring your angle, it's anti-clockwise. You start from the x, you go all the way to that line. And which quadrant is this? It's the fourth quadrant. And in the fourth quadrant, it's easy to see. Look at it. If I'm to join this as my line here, you see x, and this is my y. Look at it. Y is at the bottom, so y is negative. Hence here you have a negative y. X is on the positive side, hence you have got a positive x. Alright, so automatically, then this distance r. See that you need to automatically find that distance r. They will want you to do that. And then first one question says, well, determine the value of that. But now, whenever they do that, once they give you x, once they give you y, just go on and find distance r, meaning r squared is x squared plus y squared. R squared, what is x squared? Put bracket, it's 3 squared. See, the importance of bracket now will come into place. Plus, and then if you wrote it like this, minus 4 squared, then you get it wrong. Because minus 4 squared, look at what your calculator is going to do. If you use that and you say negative 4 squared, your calculator will give you minus 16. But if you put brackets, when I emphasized brackets, see, then your calculator give you positive 16. So always put brackets. Are you with me? So r squared is equal to 3 squared plus this. I think we did it before. 16 plus 9 is 25. Now look at it. When I square it, I need now space here. Okay, now let me leave it like that for now. Now look at this. When I say r is equal to plus or minus, that's where we say plus or minus square root of 25. The importance of the plus or minus will be, okay, by the way, we said r is positive, so it's not important here, so don't worry about that. R is equal to plus or minus 5. Okay, here r is always positive, so it's 5. I thought I was finding x or y, so r is always positive, so there it is. R is 5. From here you can answer any question they will ask after you know x, y, and r. Look at this. What's the first question? The first question here says determine the value of what? This 1 over 4 sine squared theta. So you say 1 over 4. I told you when they say sine squared, you write like this, sine theta, and you put the squared like that. Please remember, the squared is only for sine. It's not affecting 1 over 4. So 1 over 4 is on its own. Then you put a bracket, sine theta. You remind yourself, what is sine? Sine theta, sine, SOHCAHTOA, so, which is equal to sin theta is equal to O over H. Now opposite, it's what? Y. Hypotenuse is R. So you can say y over r squared, which is equal to 1 over 4. What is your y? It's negative 4 over, what is your r? It's 5, and then you square that. Are you with me? And then you find that with the calculator. You don't have to strain yourself and then say, because I know they say it without the use of a calculator, but the final answer they don't mind how you find it. Alright, so it's 1 over 4, and then it is what? It is fraction negative 4 over 5, and then that is squared. Okay, the answer is 4 over 25. And get this, they give you 2 marks for that. Then what is the next one? They are saying show that sec squared theta minus 1 is equal to 10 squared theta, 3 marks. So let's do this sec squared theta minus 1. So if I say sec squared theta minus 1, let's do the left hand side first, left hand side, and see whether it becomes the right hand side. Now sec, remind yourself what is sec. Sec is 1 over cos. Sec theta is equal to 1 over cos theta. Remember that part is linked to cos. Now what is cos? It's car, and then car, meaning cos theta is equal to a over h, which is equal to what? A is x over r. So what about sec? Sec then will become r over x. See that? You invert cos. So sec squared then will become r over x squared. I think that then is minus what? Minus 1. Then which is equal to, let me divide that. What is r? We just discovered r was 5 and x was 3. So this will be 5 over 3 squared minus 1. Then let's get that. If we do that, it's 5. Let me do that. It's 5 over 3 squared minus 1. What do I get? I get 16 over 9. Alright, so this is what we have. Let's come back now and say, what about 10 squared? Now I told you 10 squared is same as saying 10 theta squared, and 10 is SOHCAHTOA. 10 is what? 10 theta. We divide that also, is equal to O over A, and O is Y over X. See that? So now what is 10 squared? Sorry, 10 squared. So which is equal to Y over X squared. See, and then what is Y? Go back to the formula. Y is negative 4, X is 3. So you're going to say negative 4 over 3 squared. And then what is the answer for negative 4 over 3 squared? I think it will give us that answer. It's a fraction negative 4 over 3, and then we square that. See that? It's 16 over 9. You see? So show that sec squared theta, then you can say 16 over 9 is equal to 16 over 9. Then therefore, then you say shown. You can rewrite that statement. I don't want to write it again. Therefore, you say sec squared theta minus 1 is equal to 10 squared theta. You get 3 marks. Guys, this was a bit different, of course. The approach was a bit different, but guess what? It's still using that foundation that I laid. Look at the next one. Can you do it? Try it yourself. Say study the diagram below and answer the questions that follow without the use of a calculator. Without the use of a calculator. And there it is. They give you this. Try it. Just try this question. You are given that, and then from here you need to answer this question. Can you try that? You pause this video and then you attempt it yourself. Now determine the value of what? Sin theta. Guys, the moment they give you this, automatically you ask yourself what is outstanding. See, they give you a line, and obviously what is outstanding is r. Now look at the coordinates. There x is negative, there y is negative. Why? Because we are in the third quadrant, where this is negative x, this is negative y. So here it becomes your x and your y. That's why it's negative 4, negative 3. So when you do it, you remind yourself what is r squared. R is equal to x squared plus y squared, and then r squared is equal to negative, remember, put brackets, negative 4 squared plus negative 3 squared. Very important to put those brackets. And then r, we said r is always positive, so it will be square root of what? I can leave out now that plus or minus. So r will be square root of what? So if I say bracket negative 4 squared plus negative 3 squared, you can see that this keeps on taking us 25. You see, square root of 25, and then what is r? R is 5. So you've got r being equal to 5 there. It's very important because sin theta will link you to that. That's why they make it 2 marks, you see. So now what is sin theta here? First question, sin theta is equal to y over r. Remember, sin is what? Is so, which is opposite over hypotenuse, which is y over r. And what is your y? Negative 3. And what is your r? Is 5. You do that. Then what about the next one? The next one here, look at this one. It says 5 cos 90 minus theta plus 3 cot theta. They were a bit tricky there. But anyway, I don't know why they used that kind of the question here. I'm trying to approach it without violating your curriculum, because everything is within the curriculum. Let me see here. If they say 5 cos 90 minus theta plus 3 cot theta. So now what I wanted to realize, I'm going to show you this, to say, if you take a calculator, for example, I want to find cos, I want us to see what is cos 60, and I want us to see what is sine 30. So let's take a calculator and you'll see what I mean. If I use that calculator and I say cos 60, look what I get, 1 over 2. See, cos 60, and then I say sine 30. Did you see that is the same answer, 1 over 2? So what does it mean? If these are equal, look at it, but I can write it like this. I can write it and say cos, if I take 90 here and say 90 minus 60, 90 minus 30. For me to get 60, I must say 90 minus 30. Okay, see that? This is still 60, 90 minus 30, but I didn't change. It's still equal to sine 30 degrees. Now look at these very important concepts already there. But as I said, I didn't expect such a question to be coming through. But let's use that concept to say, if I say cos 90 minus 30 is equal to this, but here I can use any angle here. I can say cos 90. Where is the 90 coming from? 90 is coming from here. Remember, this is 0 and this is 90. Are you with me? So that is where the 90 is coming from. So 90 minus, let's say any angle here can become theta, right, is equal to, since 30 was 30, see, this will also be equal to sine theta. So which means here it's actually 5. This is actually sine theta plus 3 cot theta. You see that? Then equal to 5. Now we just did sin theta is negative 3 over 5 plus 3. Now cot theta is equal to what? 1 over 10. So let's start with 10 first so that we'll know cot. Cot is linked to 10. So what is 10? 10 theta. Remember, 10 is SOHCAHTOA, is O over A, which is y over x. What is cot then? Cot theta is the opposite, which is x over y. So plus 3 bracket, what is my x? My x, if I go back here, my x was negative 4, my y is negative 3. So it's negative 4 over negative 3. There it is. Then the 5 will cancel the 5. I'll be left with negative 3 plus the negative and the negative cancel here. The 3 and the 3 cancel there. So it's negative 3 plus 4, which is equal to 1. So this is that. It gives us a 1 if I did all this correctly. Alright. So this is how you approach them, guys. The questions will keep on coming and the questions will keep on demanding similar approaches. You don't have to get scared. They mean the same. Try this one again. In the diagram, Px square root of 5 is a point on a Cartesian plane such as P or X. You see, you always start from X. P up to that line, or X is equal to theta. It says use the diagram and without a calculator determine this value of X. Now, it's also this, I like what they did here. Now, I want you to pay attention. If they still give me a line, like they did give me a line, but now they never told me the X value. But now they told me the R. This is my R value. R is equal to 3. See that? So you can't go on. R squared is X squared plus Y squared. See that? But I know my R now is 3. Put brackets. So it's good to put brackets. Is equal to X squared plus, now Y is positive there, bracket square root of 5 squared. So now 3 squared is 9 is equal to X squared, right? Plus square root of 5 squared there becomes 5. You can test that with the calculator. Say square root of 5 and then squared is 5. Take 5 to join 9. So you'll have 9 minus 5 is equal to what? X squared. But pay attention. Pay attention. What is 9 minus 5? It's 4. Is equal to what? X squared. That's where now things change. If you say square root, remember you must square root both sides. Now square root of X squared is equal to square root of 4. Now I'm bringing back the plus or minus now. You see, that time it will be very, very important. I'll say and be there. Be careful at that stage. You need to say plus or minus, because if you forget, you will see what will happen if you forget the plus or minus. Then from here, you have got X is equal to plus or minus 4. Now, if you forgot the plus or minus 4, you're going to say simple X is equal to 4. That was going to be your answer. X is equal to 4, and 4 is positive, but here you cannot have a positive X here. X is negative according to our diagram. It cannot be positive because it's on the left hand side. The positive X is somewhere here. So which means your diagram is no longer making sense, whereby you've got a positive X, but the answer the diagram says it must be negative. That's why here you say, after you do this, you say therefore, you conclude X is equal to negative 4, not the positive one. So X is negative 4. Are you with me? That's why they said find the value of X, and they gave you 2 marks. X is what? Negative 4. Cos theta. Now cos is so you like cos theta is equal to adjacent, which is your X, over hypotenuse, which is your R. What is your X? We say it is negative 4. What was your R? Is 3. See? And then 1 minus sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus, now sine is so, then put a bracket. I told you squared, put a bracket. Sine is opposite, which is Y, over hypotenuse, which is R, like this, which is equal to 1 minus Y. What is the Y value? The Y value was square root of 5, which is bracket square root of 5 over R is 3 squared. I know they said we mustn't use a calculator, which is 1 minus, you can still do this without a calculator. 5 squared is, square root of 5 squared is 5 over 9. See? So this is more like 9 over 9 minus 5 over 9. And the answer becomes equal to what? 4 over 9. But let's cross check it. Just cross check your answer. Don't leave it like that. Because you need to just check if you did your calculations the right way. You don't want to lose marks like that. So in here, I'll take it from the 1 minus bracket fraction square root of 5 over 3, and then say squared equals to 4 over 9. There it is. Are you with me? So that's how you work things out like that. Look at this next question. My time is gone already, but I'm wrapping this up now. If 4 tan theta is equal to -3 and cos theta is positive, use a sketch to calculate the value of 5 marks. Use a sketch. I love this. This is beautiful. Look at this. This is lovely. They are saying you're given this. When they say use a sketch, they want you to sketch it now yourself. All along they've been sketching for you, but now you're going to sketch it for yourself. So what they have, you see, they want you to do this sketch. So yes, you can come up with an arrow here to say this is my y, this is my x, but you also must know this is a Cartesian plane. All right, look at this. They're saying here, if 4 tan theta is equal to -3, obviously 4 times 10, how do I get rid of 4? I divide both sides by 4. See, then it gives me tan theta is equal to, now it's negative 3 over 4. Now be careful, don't say the negative belongs to 3. It's fine to say that, but you need to prove it well. You need to be sure, because 3, the negative can belong to 3, it can belong to 4. So in a way, I prefer it to do it like this. Take this negative and let it stand in the center there, to say, let me prove where it belongs to. So what you do, they told you though a hint, cos is positive. And cos is positive, and it's a bit tricky here to say, how will I know that cos is positive? But let's look at this. It's a bit tricky, but it's fine. You know what is tan. You know what is tan theta. Tan theta is equal to TOA. SOHCAHTOA is equal to O over what? Adjacent. And what is O? It's Y. And then what is the adjacent? It's X. Then you ask yourself, okay, if tan theta is Y over X, here you can now say Y over X. They told you, in this case, which one are you going to use for 10? Which one are you going to use? Because there are how many values here? Let me see, which are negative. Remember, we can say, for example, if 3 is negative, it will be here. I'm just trying to show you how you can come up with different diagrams, whereby you can draw a diagram here, and when you draw a diagram here, you will have here 10. Remember, x is what? Is 4. So it will be x is -4, y is 3. Right. Now let me check. They told me cos is positive. Cos is my decider. Cos is positive. So if I do this, I say cos theta. Remember, car. So what is cos theta? Cos theta is adjacent over hypotenuse, which is equal to, my adjacent is what? My adjacent is x over r. Now I know, for me to get a positive cos, it means my x must what? Be positive. You see now? Because they told you here, x is positive. So how do you get a positive car? Means x must be positive. So there is no way this can be this part. X can, here, you see, x is negative. So this is wrong. Let's try another quadrant. Another quadrant can be here. But automatically the quadrant is here. Look at it. I'm still getting x being what? -x. So this is also wrong. It can't be in the first quadrant, because in the first quadrant there is no way I can get a negative, because it's positive. So the most probably answer is there in this quadrant. But let's test it again. In this quadrant here, look at it. What is x? There it is. See, x is positive. And what is y? See, there it is. It's the y that is negative. So here you can see now what it means. I can rewrite my tan theta and say here my tan theta is equal to, remember it was 3/4, but which one is y over x, so it's minus 3/4. Are you with me? And then don't forget, we always need to find r. So the diagram that you are sketching, they said with the aid of a diagram. So you need to have your diagram now. Final diagram must be like this. You don't need to show everything that you are doing here. So this is your final diagram. See that? It's in the fourth quadrant. And then in the fourth quadrant, then you need to find your r. If you still remember, r squared here is what? X squared, which is negative, which is 4 squared, because x is 4 here. Remember, it's 4 minus 3. That's what the diagram they will want. They need to see that 4 minus 3. Okay, let me actually sketch this so that I show you how not to lose points on the sketching of this diagram. So this is what you do. You take a diagram, you take this, you know that it's in the fourth quadrant, and then you do this. And then your theta starts from here to that, and you call it theta. And then here, x is 4, y is negative 3. That's what they'll be wanting to see. And then you do this and say this is your x, and then you do this, say this is your y. So r squared is x squared plus minus 3 squared. And then if you do it, remember we have done this before, r is equal to 5. So this is 5. They want to see that value. Now the next one is, that's where they give 5 marks. Then they say calculate the value of 5 sin theta plus 3 cot theta. Now where can I do this? 5 sin theta, let me write it here, 5 sin theta plus 3 cot theta, which is equal to 5. Now sin, remember it's what? It's y, which is so opposite over r, plus 3 cot, remember tan theta, TOA is what? It's y over x, but cot now will be x over y. See this? Then this is equal to 5. Then y, we agreed that y was negative 3 over, see the importance of r, calculate r as 5, plus 3, and you continue, x was what? 4 from the diagram, and then over y is negative 3. This is what they gave us from the beginning. Then you start cancelling there. This is negative 3, then you cancel there, and then it's negative 3 minus 4, and it's negative 7. If I was working this right, here it must be minus 7. The last one is 25 cos squared. How do you find 25 cos theta? That's how I told you, right? Squared, which is 25. Now car, it's what? It's x over r, adjacent over hypotenuse, which is equal to 25. X was what? 4 over r is 5. Squared, don't forget that it's squared. Alright, so here, which is equal to, so when I do this, then it will be 25 times 4 squared is 16 over 5 squared is 25. I think that's why they use 25. Cancel there, the answer becomes what? 16. That's it, guys. This is how they keep on asking the same questions in different ways. Same question but differently. Same question but differently. Now I need to end up my lesson because I've stretched it. It's a bit long now, but I'm going to do this, finalize these. You try them yourself. Try these questions now. Look at it. Let me reduce it a bit. This is one, says in the diagram below, PXY is a point on the fourth quadrant, BOP is theta, it is in 17 cos theta minus 15 is equal to 0. Then you make use of the information provided in the diagram to determine the length of OP, calculate the value of tan theta. and prove that cos sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1 using that information. Guys, try it, work it out and see what you get. And then yes, this is another section that is very important. It says trigonometry, understanding calculation of angles. Very simple thing. They will say use your calculator, but you need to know, can I use it the right way? Look at these questions. All this is from your past papers. Join me again in the next lesson. It's a must watch because you need to see how easy it is to get these marks. And then when you come to this section, you don't have to think twice about it. But again, if you want to benefit more, become a part of us, become a part of this family, become a part of this channel. Don't just watch and exit, because the next video I'm posting, because you are not part of the people subscribed, you are not going to get the notification. But if you are a part of this channel, you will get a notification for every video that I'm posting. Then you can check quickly on the notifications. Is this for me? If it's not for you, it's fine, you just dismiss it. But if it's for you, you send yourself a reminder, you put watch later so that you can follow up lesson by lesson. Guys, this channel was designed with you in mind. The 24-minute lesson is the lesson with you in mind. It's supposed to be for 24 minutes. So what you do is get your first 24 minutes, because that's the maximum time you can understand. If you see that your 24 minutes is up, pause it, come again and continue for the next session. That's what you do. Watch it in 24 minutes pockets. Trust me, it is going to be very, very beneficial for you. To me, this is one of the best lessons ever. I call it the best because if you understand the previous 2 lessons, trigonometry will never be a problem to you. It will take you to grade 11, it will take you to grade 12. We've come to the end of our session. Thank you.